Now I'm about to tell you something so scary about short form content that it's going to make you reconsider every single time you pick up your phone, and even to the point you're probably going to delete these apps where you're consuming this short form content. Now I'm not going to tell you that our attention span's low as human beings and that comparison's not good and that to be off our phone so we can be a little bit more present. In fact, what I'm about to tell you is far, far worse than any of that. Now, short form content, to define it, simply is a video that's maybe less than or between 30 and 60 seconds long. That could be from mainly TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. Now, to understand how much of an impact this can have on us, we're going to first understand what short form content is. Now, in order for short form content to reach your phone or to reach your laptop device, whatever it is, it needs to be liked many times by many different people. And in order for something to be liked, it must create an emotion within. So if you think about it, every short form video that you watch creates some type of emotion. If that's David Goggins shouting at you, it's going to create this motivation out of nowhere. If that's a story about somebody overcoming cancer, it's going to create this inspired gratitude emotion. If it's a story about something really, really sad or somebody died, it's going to create this real sad emotion. Now, notice how I said those three things. And a short form video is less than 60 seconds. So within the space of 60 seconds, you can feel motivated by that David Goggins video. You can then switch that and feel completely inspired by a video of somebody overcoming cancer. And then within that next minute, you can also feel extremely low because you've seen someone die in a car crash, or something's happened to someone, or there's a story on the news about some war happening in some country. Now, within the space of 3 minutes, you've experienced three emotions that would have taken our body, that would have taken our mind, that would have taken some level of pursuit for more than hours to actually experience naturally. Now, what happens is, and this is the dangerous part, which we're going to break down. The dangerous part about this is when we're watching this stuff and we're experiencing these this drastic change in emotion 3 times within the space of 3 minutes, what it's training our brain to do is be emotionally volatile, which simply means go from one state to the other really, really quickly. Have you ever been speaking to somebody, having a normal conversation, and then you say something that triggers a belief system that they have, and off they go? Might be a vegan, might be, let me not start calling it, but you might be speaking to someone that has a belief about something, and they just fly off the walls, emotions. No, what? You can't, but they was normal a second ago. That is emotional volatility. And what short form content is doing is it's training our brains to be emotionally volatile from one state to the other, back to this state, back to that state, back to that state. Now, the reason why short form content specifically, and not really any other forms of content, because if you sit down and you're watching a 15-20 minute video on some psychological concept, or you're watching some story about something, you get the build up. You start, you find out about the person, you get the build up, you get the lessons, you get some insights, then you get the big hitting thing, then you get an outcome, then you get some actionables, then you get to, and it's a story. There's nothing wrong with that because it trains our brain to delay gratification. Okay, I'm going to wait, I'm going to watch this video. Okay, boom, and then I get the reward. When we get the reward straight away, and instant gratification, you've probably heard of it, delayed gratification, instant gratification. But no one's probably ever broke down how important it is. And the opposite of that is that when we're having instant gratification and when we're experiencing a plethora of emotions like that within the space of 3 minutes, 3 extreme emotions within the space of 3 minutes, that trains our brain to continue that. So then when you turn off your phone and something happens, we're incredibly responsive. We're reactive to things. Short form content is way deeper than we have come to realize. Now, I, much like you probably watching this, have doom scrolled for hours. I've been there before, just on Instagram. One thing I will say is I've never downloaded TikTok, ever, because of this. However, I get caught up on YouTube Shorts or Instagram and I'm just scrolling. And there's not many things that you can just scroll for an hour. Like, there's not many things that can just pass by an hour and you not really know what you've done than watching short form content. Short form content is the biggest reason as to why mental health is through the roof. Everybody has ADHD, ODD, OCD, depression, anxiety. So, like, everybody has something. Now, I'm not here to talk about that, but what I am here to say is that understand that all of these labels, ADD, OCD, anxiety, all of these things are a byproduct, are an effect. Now, we have to understand just the laws of human nature, the brain, how everything works, how there is an equal and there is an opposite reaction, which means there is no effect without a cause. Things don't just happen. Effects come from the causes of things. Now, and the best way I can break this down is that we have mental health and we have brain health. And these are two different things. We think that our brain health would be our mental health because we think mental means mind. But there is something before the mind, and that is the brain. If we can actually get a picture of our brain and see the health of our brain. Remember, the brain is sort of like your heart. It's like a bicep. It's like, it's a thing. Do you know what I'm saying? And that thing produces things. The cause is the brain. That cause produces the effects of how we think, feel, and behave. Now, understand that our brain, when we're training it to be emotionally volatile by going on social media and scrolling all of these apps and TikTok and short form content, then that is affecting our brain health. When we affect our brain health, the byproduct of that may be anxiety. The byproduct of that may be depression. The byproduct of that may be OCD, ADD, all of this stuff that everybody's being labeled with nowadays. And then you get a pill. There you go, that will fix it. No. Go back. Let's go back a couple steps. Our brain health. There is it's not a coincidence why all of these things are on the rise. It's not a coincidence why people's attention span has gone down from it was 14 seconds 20 years ago, and now it's 8.25 seconds, and it is decreasing by the day. I'll go back to your brain health. Our brain health is meant to feel 4 hormones naturally: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Simply, dopamine is our pleasure signal, okay? Our pleasure signal came from when we used to hunt and we used to go out and we'd spend hours trying to hunt a boar, we'd kill it, and then we'd get it. And the reason why that felt so good is because dopamine would go off and we're trained to feel dopamine for the pursuit, not for the outcome. Cool. The second one, oxytocin. Oxytocin is something that is the hormone that goes off when we have human connection. When we meet someone or when we're with our partner or whatever, and we hug them and we're connected with them. Even when you hug your dog, your hormone will go off. That is called oxytocin. The next one, serotonin, which is your happy hormone, which is just your general wellness and happiness. That is bidirectionally connected to your gut health. Again, it doesn't just come out of nowhere. And then endorphins. Endorphins are basically the pleasure from stress, to put it simply. Now, all of these things we can get from short form content. Dopamine, we can get instantly gratified from short form content. Oxytocin, we can feel connected with somebody else through short form content, creating parasocial relationships. Parasocial relationships are simply relationships that you create online with somebody that you've probably never met in person. The next one, serotonin. This happiness thing. We can get the happiness vicariously through our phone by watching something happy happen. And then endorphins. Might watch, I don't know, an MMA fight or whatever and see that it's tough and then vicariously live through it as well. Like, we're vicariously living through our digital devices, and worse than that, it is short form content which we're vicariously living through. Understand that is how short form content affects our brain health, and that mental health is a byproduct of brain health. Mental health does not just come out of nowhere. It is a byproduct of our brain health. Short form content is so much more dangerous than what you have ever been told before. You've probably never been told this before. To this day, people come to me and say, download TikTok, Alf, and do short form content and whatnot. And I refuse to have it myself. Someone can run it maybe in the future or whatever. I don't want it. I refuse to have TikTok on my phone. And the byproduct of me refusing to have TikTok on my phone is that I'm flipping happy and I can concentrate a lot longer than what I've ever been able to do. The byproduct of not having this short form content, and I'm so passionate about this, and you need to be quite passionate about this as well. This is your mental health, is because I've also been there on the other side where I'm like, 2 hours gone by. Our attention span, our general health, our human connection, our conversations, our skills and abilities, our well-being, emotions, everything is depleting by no other reason other than our phones. And the main contributor on our phone is the short form content. If you are somebody that is watching short form content, I urge you to consider what you're doing. I urge you to set a time limit on your phone, an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours. I urge you to look at your screen time, and I urge you to take that screen time and look how long of that is short form content. Short form content is so much more dangerous than you've ever been told. Comparison, yeah. Comparison's the thief of joy. Being present, it's going to stop you from being present, and all of this stuff, that is all true. However, this is far deeper than what you realize. Short form content is training our minds to be emotionally volatile. Short form content is creating these disorders that we see that are rampant across the world. It's because of short form content. So, I think I already gave some actionables, to be fair. But simply take hold of these and of this. I've got my mic on there, it's quite clever, isn't it? And that. Get hold of it. You're going to use it. A lot of our lives are on there. A lot of our friends are on there. Our learning on there. Our resources, our work, all of this stuff. The more things that are going on there, the more susceptible that we're going to be to this curse of short form content. This is just so you understand it and just become more aware of it. Because if you don't get a hold of this thing, I can guarantee you it will get a hold of you, or it may already have you. And you'll be going to the doctors thinking that there's something wrong with your mind, or that you've got this thing that you caught out of thin air. That's not the case. Until the next one, love.